The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." At first glance, the words seem simple, yet they hold the key to the door of inner freedom. Because modern life is filled with noise, work relationships, and invisible pressures constantly pulling the mind in 100 directions, we've become so busy that we forget to listen to ourselves. And when exhaustion comes, we convince ourselves that peace lies somewhere outside in a vacation, a relationship, or the next success. We chase one thing after another, believing that once everything settles, the mind will finally rest. But even when we achieve what we sought, the emptiness remains. Because peace is not something created by circumstances. It is an energy already present within the one who knows how to return inward. When we look for peace outside, we hand our serenity over to the world. One change of mood, one event out of our control, and that fragile calm shatters. But when we realize that peace is an inner strength, we become the master of our emotions. Waves may rise, yet the ocean floor stays still. Peace does not come from silencing life's waves, but from learning to stand steady amid them. The truth is, we don't have to wait for conditions to change to be at peace. The root of unrest does not lie in the world outside, but in how we perceive, think, and react. When the mind chases, it loses peace. When the mind returns, it naturally finds it. The world may be noisy, but within each person lies a quiet space, like a deep lake, whose surface ripples while its depths remain clear. And there, peace does not need to be found. It only needs to be recognized. Peace is not a reward for the perfect, but the natural right of the awakened. It depends not on what we have, but on our capacity to be fully present in this moment. When we stop, breathe deeply, and observe our thoughts without identifying with them, we touch the pure stillness that has always been there. That is, peace uncreated, effortless, simply being. The spiritual path is not about seeking something new, but about clearing away the dust that made us forget we were already whole. Only when we realize this do we truly begin the journey home to the place within where peace has never left, only been momentarily forgotten. The human mind is like a monkey leaping from branch to branch, jumping from one thought to another, never still. In Buddhism, this is called the monkey mind, and the horse of thought, ten vien ima. The mind like a monkey, the thought like a horse, always running, always pulling. Thus, our struggle to find inner peace is not a weakness, but a reflection of the mind's natural restlessness. Once we understand this, we stop blaming ourselves or forcing the mind to freeze. Instead, we learn to observe it with awareness. When we sit quietly, we soon discover that inside is anything but quiet. Thousands of thoughts arise: worry, fear, regret, judgment. But rather than pushing them away or clinging to them, we simply watch them as clouds drifting across the sky. The clouds come and go, but the sky remains still. Likewise, our mind is the sky. Thoughts are merely passing clouds. There is no need to stop the clouds, only to remember that the sky has never been harmed by them. When we stop identifying with our thoughts, a spacious stillness begins to open. In that space, we are no longer swept away by every emotion or reaction. We are simply witnessing, and in that witnessing, the mind gradually clears, becoming as light as breath. Meditation and mindfulness are the mirrors that reflect the workings of the mind. As we train ourselves to observe without judgment, we return the mind to its original clarity. At times when we meditate and thoughts still surge, we think we have failed. But no realizing that we are thinking is already progress. For in that instant of awareness, awakening has begun. A thought may rise like a wave, yet the one who sees the wave is no longer drowning in it. Each moment of recognition weakens the grip of unconscious habit. Over time, the mind grows skilled in returning to self-observation, like a river, finding its way back to its source. When we understand that the mind's nature is movement, we no longer grow frustrated when distracted nor blame ourselves for losing focus. Instead, we smile, accept, and gently bring attention back to the present. Stillness is not the absence of thought. It is freedom from being carried away by it. Understanding the nature of mind is the first step toward wisdom, for only through understanding do we stop fighting ourselves. The mind does not need to be subdued, only seen. And when it is seen in the light of mindfulness, it naturally settles like a lake returning to stillness after the wind has passed. There, peace is no longer something to seek, but the revealed essence of a mind understood and at rest. Energy is the fuel of the mind. When energy runs low, peace becomes impossible no matter how many times. Reason reminds us to stay calm. Peace does not arise from exhaustion. It blossoms when we know how to preserve and nurture our inner vitality. Many people lose their peace not because of great calamities, but through small daily leaks, a negative conversation, a resentful relationship, or a draining habit we fail to notice. Like a cracked vessel that can never stay full, no matter how much water is poured in, the mind cannot remain peaceful if its energy keeps leaking without replenishment. Protecting energy does not mean closing the heart or running away from life. It means setting boundaries and recognizing what deserves to remain in our inner world. The Buddha taught, "The wise know when to say no, for they understand that true compassion begins with oneself." If we constantly please others while abandoning ourselves, that is not compassion, it is self-harm. Observe what lightens your heart and what exhausts it. Then have the courage to walk away from whatever drains your spirit. Boundaries are not walls that separate, but gates that guard the stillness within. Some may call you cold, but in truth, that is clarity. For the mind cannot bloom in poisoned soil. Choose to be around those whose words carry light, whose presence is calm. Let their energy become nourishment for your own peace. And when you must face negative energy, do not resist or absorb it. Simply observe, breathe, and let it pass like the wind. Also, be mindful of the silent thieves of energy. Social media, chaotic news, the habit of comparison, or the need to please everyone. Each time we scroll mindlessly, a bit of energy is taken away. Each time we stay silent, when something hurts us, another crack forms in our inner peace. Learn to stop, turn off, step outside, breathe deeply, and bring your mind back home. More importantly, do not just prevent energy from leaking, remember to restore it. You need moments of stillness to recover: meditation, walking in nature, listening to calm music, reading uplifting words. Each of these acts is a way of recharging with clean energy. When energy is renewed, peace returns like a clear stream, refilling after the rain. The one who protects their energy is the one who honors their life force. For only when the mind is bright can we see the world with compassion and true serenity. Guarding your energy means shielding the inner flame from the winds of life, so that even when storms arise, your light remains steady and calm. Most human suffering does not come from circumstances, but from the loops of the mind. We do not live an event only once. We relive it hundreds of times in imagination, each time we recall, worry, or blame ourselves. The mind becomes a projector, replaying the same scene until exhaustion. The Buddha said, "Thought is the root of karma." When our thoughts revolve around negativity, they not only tire the mind, but carve deep grooves in the brain, causing us to react the same way whenever similar situations appear. That is the cycle of suffering. Yet the good news is that this very mind can be renewed if we learn to see and respond differently. Whenever a stressful thought arises, do not rush to believe it nor to fight it. Simply observe it, name it, and let it pass. Worrying, fearing, angry. Naming may seem small, but it cuts the chain of automatic reaction. In the very moment you recognize it, the one who recognizes is no longer the victim of the thought. Like a person standing by the river, watching the flow, you see clearly without being swept away. Each such moment reprograms the brain, freeing it from its habitual reactions. Negative thinking cannot be eliminated by force, only by replacement. Cultivate wholesome thoughts, bright, kind seeds in the soil of your mind. When worry arises, respond with trust. When anger surfaces, transform it with a deep breath. When a painful memory returns, remind yourself, it has passed. Each shift of thought is a step toward retraining the brain to follow a new path. Science calls this neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change through practice. Buddhism taught this thousands of years ago. The mind is like an artist painting the world with its own brushstrokes. If we do not guide our thoughts, they will rule us. But when we observe, choose, and breathe mindfully, the brain begins to rewire itself from reaction to awareness, from turbulence to composure. Do not hope for the mind to be completely silent. Hope instead to recognize when it becomes noisy. One moment of awareness weakens the storm by half. Each day, if we spend a few minutes meditating and watching our thoughts instead of chasing them, the old mental trails fade, giving way to clearer paths. When the mind is reprogrammed, it becomes free. And in that freedom, peace is no longer a distant ideal, but the natural state of one who has learned to master the flow within. Acceptance is the highest art of the awakened, yet also the greatest challenge of those still walking through life. Humans naturally wish for things to go their way, for others to understand them, for life to be fair. But the world operates under the law of impermanence. The tighter we cling, the deeper we suffer. The Buddha taught, the one who knows acceptance is already halfway to enlightenment. Because acceptance is not surrender, it is the release of resistance. Only when we stop fighting the flow of reality can the mind truly rest. There are things we cannot fix, cannot change, cannot redo. Forcing them only adds confusion to the heart. It's like standing in the rain and blaming the sky. The angrier we get, the wetter we become. But when we open our hands and let the rain touch our skin, we realize the rain was never the enemy. It is simply part of nature. Likewise, when we learn to accept, we stop resisting what cannot be altered and discover that peace comes not from control, but from harmony with what is. Acceptance does not mean endurance. It is the clear awareness that says, this is what is happening. In the light of that awareness, we are no longer ruled by the event itself. Some lose their job, their loved one, or fall ill, and think that life has turned its back on them. But suffering is merely the shadow of existence. When we pause and recognize this is the shadow, we see that the light has never left. Every hardship carries a lesson, if only we dare to look with a calm mind. Acceptance is also a form of love. When we allow ourselves to be sad, to be weak, to be wrong, we are practicing compassion toward our own being. Many people repress their emotions, believing that strength means not crying, not hurting. But water clears itself by flowing. So too must emotions move through us to cleanse the mind. Instead of asking, why me? Ask, what is this teaching me? The first question breeds resentment, the second wisdom. Letting go is not losing it, is returning everything to its right to simply be. When we stop forcing the world to follow our script, harmony naturally returns. When we stop demanding the mind to be different, peace arises on its own. In the end, acceptance does not make us weak. It makes us quietly strong, no longer needing control, no longer fearing loss. For the one who knows how to release has nothing left to lose, only peace to gain. Life is never still. Waves, changes, and sudden turns all are natural parts of existence. No one can escape the storm, but the awakened learn how to stand unmoved within it. The Buddha said, no one can make a lake clear by stirring it. Peace does not come from avoiding life, but from remaining lucid within it. When the outer world is chaotic, the inner world must stand firm like a mountain. Some believe that to be at peace, they must leave the world, withdraw, flee, or seek solitude in remote places. But if the mind is restless, neither mountains nor oceans can offer refuge. Because the storm is not outside, it is within. Only when the wind inside settles does the landscape become calm. Meditation teaches us to return to the breath, the bridge between body and mind, between movement and stillness. Each deep breath is an anchor, keeping the heart steady amid life's whirlpools. Observe your mind in moments of turmoil. It is always wandering away from the present moment, either grieving the past or fearing the future. But in the breath, there is only now. When you inhale and know that you are inhaling, exhale and know that you are exhaling, in that instant, the storm pauses. Not because it has vanished, but because you are no longer inside it. To remain still amid chaos is not indifference. It is the wisdom to act with clarity instead of reacting with impulse. The unsettled are shaken by the smallest wave. The centered remain radiant even in the storm. In the midst of pressure-filled days, grant yourself a few minutes to sit quietly. Do not try to silence the thoughts, simply let them pass like water flowing downstream. Feel your breath, your heartbeat, your presence. This is not escape. It is returning to the source of strength. For only when the inside is calm can we face the outside with awareness. Stillness is not the absence of sound. It is the state in which sound no longer disturbs the heart. Like a rower on the river, you cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to balance. Each day, train yourself in the ability to return to the center, remembering where you are, what you are doing, and that everything around you is but a scene. When the mind stands firm, the world naturally softens. The storms of life may tilt everything, but they cannot sweep away the one who knows how to return to their own center. In that silence, you can hear the voice of wisdom, not loud, not showy, but like a single drop falling into a clear lake, spreading quiet circles of peace. The mind is the soil, and the environment is the climate that nourishes it. No matter how good a seed may be, if it is planted in barren, stormy ground, it will struggle to grow. Humans are no different. We cannot remain peaceful in a space filled with noise, clutter, and negative energy. The Buddha taught, the mind moves according to its surroundings. Therefore, to calm the mind, we must first create the right surroundings for stillness to bloom. Look around your living space. A room crammed with things, harsh light and loud sounds all echo inner chaos. In contrast, a simple corner softly lit, touched by nature's breath, can instantly soothe the heart. Cleaning your space is cleaning your mind. Everything you keep should have a reason. It should either serve a purpose or spark joy. Let go of the rest. Because when we release physical access, we also release the clutter within. When the space outside is bright, the space inside becomes clear. Color, sound, and scent all carry energy. Choose gentle, natural tones, earth leaf, and sky, to let calmness spread quietly around you. Open your window to let in morning light, to let the wind pass through, to let life breathe with you. Place a small plant, a glass of water, or a tranquil painting, a reminder that peace can begin with the simplest things. When the environment is arranged with mindfulness, every breath within it becomes purer. The same applies to sound. Don't let the world's noise occupy all the space in your mind. Give silence a place, for silence is the voice of wisdom. Sometimes turn off your phone, turn off the music, and listen only to the wind, the birds, or your own breathing. That is not loneliness, that is return. In silence, we hear what sound can never teach: presence. If possible, create a small sanctuary space, a corner dedicated to sitting quietly, reading, meditating, or simply breathing. It doesn't have to be large, only real. A chair, a candle, a hint of incense, a cup of tea, enough for your heart to feel at home. Each time you enter your body softens your breath, slows, and your mind settles. When we care for our surroundings with awareness, the energy of peace gradually seeps into every corner of life, and then slowly we realize the outer space is but a mirror of the inner one. When the mind is calm, anywhere you sit becomes a meditation hall, and every moment becomes a dwelling place of peace. No one walks through life without wounds. Some are inflicted by others. Some we cause ourselves. Time may fade the memories, but emotions left unhealed still live within us, quietly shaping our thoughts, choices, and every breath. Healing the past is not erasing what happened. It is learning to see it through the eyes of understanding and compassion. Only through understanding can we forgive, and only through forgiveness can we be free. The Buddha said, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent to throw it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. Resentment, blame, regret, all are chains that bind us to old suffering. Some people carry hatred for so long they forget who they are angry with. They only know their heart feels heavy. But pain does not dissolve on its own. It heals only when we have the courage to face it. Sit down, breathe, and look deeply into that wound. Do not run. Avoidance only lengthens the shadow, while facing it allows light to enter. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is freeing the present from the control of the past. When we forgive, we are not saying what happened was right. We are saying we no longer wish to suffer for it. Forgiveness is a gift. We give ourselves the gift of freedom. And often, the one most in need of forgiveness is ourselves. How many times have we blamed, punished, or denied our worth because of a mistake long gone? But no one remains the same person forever. Like a river, we change each day. To acknowledge, to learn, to let go, that is already a form of repentance and growth. Remember, wounds do not make us weak. They make us deep. What once broke us becomes what teaches us how to rise with compassion. When we can look back at those who hurt us and say, "Thank you for the lesson," the wound has turned into light. Meditation and mindfulness are the sacred medicines for the past. Every mindful breath touches the present moment, and each moment of presence weakens the power of yesterday. Ultimately, forgiveness is not an act, but a state of being, the natural condition of a heart that has understood everything. When we see that everyone suffers in their own way, judgment fades, compassion opens, and with it, freedom returns. For the one who forgives does not just release others, they release themselves from the prison of memory. And only then can true peace blossom. Peace has never waited at the end of the road. It lives within each step we take. Humans spend their entire lives searching for success, love, status, wealth. Yet when everything finally quiets, everyone realizes they were only ever seeking one thing, tranquility within the soul. That journey does not lead outward but inward. You do not need to travel far. You only need to stop. For when you stop, you finally see what you sought was never lost, only hidden beneath layers of illusion and desire. Everything the Buddha taught, understanding the mind, protecting your energy, breaking free from thought loops, learning acceptance, staying still amidst storms, nurturing peaceful spaces, healing the past are not separate lessons, but steps on the same staircase leading back to yourself. Each step cleanses, awakens, and returns you home. When you understand the mind, you stop fighting it. When you guard your energy, you stop letting others decide your emotions. When you accept, you stop resisting impermanence. When you stay calm amid chaos, you stop running from life. When you heal, you stop carrying the past into the present. And when you return inward, you stop searching outward. Peace is not a gift of luck, it is the fruit of awareness. It does not arise in noise, but in the silence between two breaths. It is not born from controlling the world, but from understanding yourself. The one who knows how to return to the mind remains serene, even in the marketplace. The one whose mind wanders outward remains restless, even in silence. Life is a river, and the mind is the rower. The waves will never cease, but the rower can learn to move with them without sinking. Each day, take even a moment to sit quietly, breathe slowly, and listen to yourself. That is already the practice of returning home. No elaborate rituals are needed, only sincerity and presence. When the mind rests fully in the present moment, The past dissolves, the future fades, and only now remains the true place of refuge. The journey inward is the longest, yet also the most beautiful, because at its end, you do not discover another world, but your own tranquil essence. Peace does not come from outside, nor from anyone or anything. It arises the moment you realize you have always been enough, whole and already at peace. And when the mind awakens to that truth, the entire universe softens in harmony.